Good morning, y'all. We're gonna do today the alternate circuit. And in the previous video, I said slowly, but today I'm definitely gonna be doing more slow movements, more or less, a lot of ground movements, also standing movements, but just to gain more control, to be more comfortable within these positions. A lot of times, if you speed your way through them and go as fast as possible, your technique will come out funky and then your body will be more sore the next day. Through just a couple of about like 6 or 7 movements, and then we're going to also see that a lot of these different postures are transitioning from different positions into from the ground. And so these are different types of, it's like yoga-like, but it's always moving the core, and it incorporates a lot more rotation, okay? And you're constantly transitioning. And something that's more yoga would be, you get into a posture, you hold it, you may move a little bit within that posture, but what we're gonna be doing is alternating positions. And so as we do this nice and slowly, you're gonna feel the muscles begin to burn a little bit more because they're flexing more to control the positioning. If we go faster, that'll require a little bit more relaxation to allow the body to move more fluidly, more continuously without slowing it down, okay? So slower movements actually require a little bit more muscular contraction, or at least, I wouldn't say more contraction, so it wouldn't be a higher intensity contraction. It'll be a lower intensity contraction, but it'll be more sustained, okay? And this is, again, so you can get the kinesthetic awareness or the feeling of what these positions feel like, and then going forward, carrying that into your technique. If you want to speed it up in the future, you're gonna have the muscular, the soft tissue structures in place to do that, because you develop them with slower and more controlled positioning, right? And then you're also going to have the correct motor patterning to move through these positions, not only get into the positions, but get into the positions comfortably without flexing too many muscles to over control, okay? All right, so let's get warmed up. Here we go. Nice, fluid, floppy arms, twist the knees, lift the heel, rotate everything together. Who's that lady? Who's that lady? What's she doing? What's Adrian doing? Baby, what are you doing? Ignored me. That's what she's doing. All right, here we go. Hands behind the back. Try to touch your fingers together. And then when you guys hear a bird chirping in the background, and you actually know what that bird is, do me a favor and type it in the comments. Hands on the hips. Oh, sorry. Both hands on one side, thumbs facing to the right. Switch your hand over as you cross the midline here. We're even going to do this one slowly. Oops, now together. Same thing, it crosses at the midline, or it flips over at the midline. All right, hands on the hips. We're gonna ram down. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? What's she doing, baby?
Planning my day.
Planning her day. Planning her day. That's so Adrian-like. All Okay, all right. Here we go. Behind, back, in front. All right, behind, out, in front, behind, out, front. Nice and slow. Everybody loves doing slow motion voice. Don't judge my hip flexibility, please. All right, here we go. Now step back with the right leg, step down, touch with the right hand. I also like to touch my face here. Boom. Comb the beard. Comb the beard. It's like I'm throwing punches at the ground, right? Comb the beard, get a little rotation in the back, and as my body rotates here. All right, down to the ground, hands and feet. Connect the knee and elbow. Now, as we're doing these slow movements, guys, think about feeling the connection and feeling the connection to the ground and the muscles activating and the structures that are supporting you from the ground throughout your body. Try to feel that and get that awareness and bring your attention to that through these movements, okay? So right here, still warming up, lift the foot, or lift the butt, touch the foot. Lift the foot, touch the butt. No. Lift the butt, touch the foot. Here. Just like so. I'm feeling my left leg and my right arm, and then the muscles in my core contracting. Right? It's easy to get focused on things that are in the air and doing stuff, but if your attention isn't on the points that connect to the ground, your attention is imbalanced, and you're possibly focusing on the wrong aspect or the less beneficial aspect. All right, 90 seconds. Normally, I'm moving as much as I can each time. I got a little ink on the mat over here. What the hell? Anyways, not important. So normally it's move as much as possible in 90 seconds. Today I'm going to be going slowly. You can do it fast if you want. If this slow stuff is just like not intense enough for you or anything, I understand. But I'm going to do it slowly. You can too. I'm picking movements that are intentionally done slowly, okay? And yeah, so have fun. Ready? 90 seconds. Here we go. 90 seconds. Keep moving the entire time. All right, starting on the ground. I'm here. Move your hips out to the side. As far as we can. Here. Feel those bridge points, connecting points to the ground that create this diagonal bridge in the body. Let's give you a little bit better maybe. There's another way that we can practice this, is pulling back to the same spot. So I move my hips out, and I bring them back to the center. Now my hips go out, touch them down, nice and gently to the ground. Okay. Control and ease. Time. Stretching the neck. Here we go. Adjust the camera real quick. I wonder if you guys can hear that hummingbird. It's right outside the window. Taking pieces of the spider web. There he is. Just head in the window for just a second. I hung up a really bright tank top inside the window. And he comes in to check it out every once in a while, thinking that it's a flower. Making sure that you're not skipping over any areas. If you feel something uncomfortable, don't skip it, but also don't blast your way through it. Explore the range of motion, try to feel how far you can go without hurting it and damaging it worse, and making it want to tighten up. Alright, boom, here we go. Now we're going to be here. This is like a wrestling type movement, okay? So I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be touching the ground, throwing the arm over, going across my body here. This way, underhook, throw it over your head, touch down to the ground below. This one is particularly helpful to go slow because your back muscles can tend to get a little bit stretched here as I reach. Here, that's my natural range of motion. And there, I reach just a little bit farther. Don't strain your back, okay? Underhook, this arm goes under and over. Oh my gosh, it looks like a yin-yang. It's weird. Is that present in all of the movements that we're doing here? Possibly. Here, under. Touch the ground. This one's a nice little quad burner. Now you do this nice and slowly, and then you start to speed it up. You'll be able to reach farther into more greater ranges of motion with more comfort and control. All right. We're going to be working on stretching our chest muscles here. Down to the ground, make sure your arm is out at a 90 and 90. Here, arm out to the side. Put your hand out to the side and up a little bit. But not straight up, not straight out to the side. You want it up in that corner. Put your body against it, stretch it out. Very good, very good. Switch other side. Put this arm at 90 and 90. Put it up and out a little bit. Turn over. Hip, leg over. Always breathing. Always bring your attention back to your breath. When your attention is on your breath, you're able to keep your attention on your core at the same time. When your attention is on your core, your entire body is more powerful, more electrically charged. Here we go. Up. All right. Step to the side here. Boom. Touch down. Little bit of balance here. Right. Up. Step sideways. Down. Here. Step. Step. Reach. Keep your balance. And when you're balancing on one foot, try to split your foot into quadrants. Left and right, front and back. And try to shift your weight back and forth between those quarters or those quadrants. And then you'll be able to stay balanced, right? But when you shift your weight forward on one and then back, and it's not very frequent. I think imagine like I'm going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right in my foot. Even though I'm not really moving very much, my attention is my foot is making little micro movements, left, right, front, back, right? And as I do that, I wasn't thinking about it that time. Lost a little of my balance here. Touch down with the same hand of the leg that's lifting. Touch the face at the same time. As I'm left, right. There, I got a little bit on the right too much. Here again. Down. Here. Perfect. All right. Hamstring stretch. Wide stance. Toes forward. Toes to the side. Hands behind. Head goes forward. Down. Want to float that head above your foot. Try to get your nose in front of your toes. Ready now. Open up. Make big arm circles. This feels funky in your back. Avoid that. Don't avoid it altogether, but avoid going into the range of motion that causes pain. Avoid going into the range of motion that feels extremely uncomfortable. Okay? We have injuries, we have discomforts around those injuries to protect them. Okay? And that keeps us from moving into that range of motion. But if we never move into that range of motion, slowly and with control switch, toes forward, toes to the side, keep that front leg straight here. If we never go into that range of motion, we're going to lose it. So it has to be approached very intelligently to strengthen that part of the body and regain that range of motion without creating further damage and fear and pain. Because every time you hurt it, every time you damage it, and you feel uncomfortable with it, you create memories that keep you from going into that range of motion again. All right, so we're going to be here. I'm going to go down, hands down, hips down, sprawl, hips up, knee under, and up. That's the good thing also about doing things slowly. We can do more complicated movement patterns. And you can learn them easier going slowly here. Here I'm going to put my right hip to the ground. Hands down first, leg back, legs out here. And then I'm going to drive this knee under, watch my diagonal bridge. Boom. And then up to my feet. Left hip down. Kind of jumped into that, didn't I? Nice and slow. Get all of the details of the movement. Drop down. Left hip. Working the hip flexors, psoas muscle complex. Big step forward with the left leg, right leg back, keep the right leg straight, left leg bent, left arm behind, right hand over the top. Oh my gosh, it looks like an yin yang. One arm's up, one is down, pointing opposite directions. Let's stretch those arms apart. The more you pull those arms apart from each other, the more you're activating those posterior shoulder muscles, the more contrast you're putting in throughout the core. Imagine I want my lower body going down and forward. I want my upper body going up and back. Switch other way. Left leg back, right leg forward. Try to keep that back leg straight-ish. Right hand behind. Left hand over the top. Look behind you. And I'm also twisting my body as well. So the more I look behind me, if I look like this, I don't feel the stretch as much in the front of my hip and on my core. Remember, we want to get the core comfortable twisting in and out of certain ranges of motion. Preserve that range of motion while strengthening the muscles that keep us from going in extreme ranges of motion here. All right, perfect. All right. Now, working, coming up from the ground. All right, so here, sorry, start that incorrectly. Down here, touch the knee and the hand, spin to your butt, around to your knee, here, punch, 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 punch down. Spinning around to your butt, here, up, punch, touch the face, punch, rotate the foot, punch, rotate the knee and the hip, down to the ground, moving around, nice and controlled, here, up, boom, 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 everything rotates, push down, knee down, nice and easy, putting that knee to the floor. Nobody needs knee injuries from hurting yourself in training. Boom. Time. All right, working the groin muscles, hip openers. Stop looking at my belly. All right, right here. Point those toes out, knees out as wide as possible. Again, we shouldn't feel this in the knees. Never should feel this in the knees. Always in the hips. The knees here, if we spread out our knees too much, point out our toes and that sort of thing, you can create extra flexibility in the knee ligaments. So you gotta be careful not where you're placing the strain and where you feel the pressure. Again, making these arm circles while you're stretching the lower body helps to, again, create comfort in these ranges of motion. But it's also strengthening these arm muscles, getting the shoulder into that widest range of motion possible to develop those muscles, but also to stretch the opposite. All right, here we go, here we go. I'm going to touch the ground. This one's going to challenge our balance for sure. Touch the ground, bring the foot in, knee up, out for the side kick, here, and back and down. Touch the ground with 2 hands, heel turns in, knee up, and out. Feel that pressure alternating between left and right, front and back, boom, down, step back out, turn the heel in, lift the knee, drive, touch the face, here, boom, extend the arm. Now don't judge my flexibility again. I'm an old wrestler that used to lift weights every single day for hours. I would spend hours in my, let's see how I can get that. hours in my wrestling stance every day. Step in, up, out, boom. Feel that glute, those obliques coming in. Boom. Step out, step in, here, chamber, lock out, touch the face, recoil. Boom. All right. Hip flex, or these hip opener muscles. Stretching with adduction. Fancy terminology that they make you memorize in school. But you don't need to know any of that to train anybody, really. Just have to understand the way the body is designed to move. You have to understand what it is that creates adaptation and what creates injury as well. And you don't need to know every single muscle unless you're going to be the person that's doing work on individual muscles and corrective type exercise. I mean, it's good to know both, obviously, right? But mainly it's not about memorization, knowing the names of things and what, you don't need to know the name of the difference between adduction and abduction unless you're talking to other qualified professionals. If you're talking on a level of like giving a presentation to professors or doctors or something, then yeah, you need to know the difference between adduction and abduction. Makes it easier, but working with a client, they don't need to know that shit. All right, here we go. Coming up from the ground here, we're kicking back, getting up, kick high, rolling down. I tuck one foot, I sit up, put my pressure into that leg there, I'm up, back down, tuck down to the knee, tuck the foot, roll back, up, hips up, now I'm forward here, onto my knee, up to my feet, showing that knee range of motion here on that. Oh, I lost my balance, trying to show off and talk at the same time. Back down, gently as possible. Now if you're having trouble with this range of motion here, coming up, you can always post behind you, give you that boost, lead up to your knee. When you're going fast, you can use the momentum, which is a useful thing to learn, is how to use your momentum instead of trying to control and slow yourself down. So there's a contrast, or there's a negative side to going slowly, and that is that I don't learn to use my momentum. All right, calf stretch. You just have to be aware of what it is that you're in need of. If you're a beginner, and you're starting with a beginner body, and beginner knowledge of the techniques and these movements, you've never done them before, slower is obviously better, right? But don't stay in slow mode the whole time, right? If you can speed it up, little by little, the little increases, not, okay, I did 3 really slow, now let's go full speed as much as possible. You slowly increase. It's the same exact thing as learning complicated movement patterns and learning how to speak language, which is different sequences of different positionings of the tongue and the mouth. Complicated motor patterns, very complicated. The learning of musical instruments, same thing. It's different motor patterns going from one note to the next. And the slower that you start, the better your patterning will be. And the slower you increase, the more gradually you increase, the more that you will preserve the correct patterning. Okay, so for example, if I'm here and I learn my punches, and the first thing I learn I go full speed off the bat, which everybody does, right? They go, blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, if I do that, I'm not integrating movement in my core, I'm not getting the full range of motion, I'm not getting things accurately, and my intensity is a little too high, right? So if you start slowly though, you get yourself right in the exact correct position, and you're here, right? Calm. You learn these calm, relaxed motor patterns, but at the same time, you don't want to stay in slow mode because you'll be over controlling. Like if I'm momentum and I'm not learning how to snap my punch and bring it back quickly, because one of the things that you'll do as a beginner puncher is you'll hold that punch out there and stick it, right? When in reality, if I'm punching, I need that to go out and come back quick. And I need to have my core integrated, and I need to snap that arm out and snap it back quickly, right? So you can't learn that going slowly, but you can't learn that unless you go slowly in the beginning, right? And then again, slowly here, I did it slow. Here, now I do a little more fluid. Here, boom. I don't linger my hand out, and then I can speed it up, right? But this takes a long time. The longer time it takes to speed things up, the more details you have in your mind as you learned it. The more details you learn, the greater your learning, okay? The more awareness you have, the more comfortability you have, okay? So again, starting slow, doing things absolutely correctly in the very initial phases, getting it down, exaggerating the correctness. Like for example, if you're learning a language and you want to learn a new word, you over enunciate, you slow down, you separate the consonants, okay? And so you separate the syllables, sorry, but that's not, you eventually have to speed it up. If you're learning language, then and you never ever speed up the words that you've learned, then you're always going to be talking very slowly, right? So it's not that you can't get to full speed while doing slow training. It's that you eventually want to work up to full speed, and then when you do work up to full speed, if you learn your punches like this and you learn it properly, you speed it up, there you can go faster, and your punch technique will be good. It won't be better the faster it goes, but you'll still be able to preserve that great technique. And then, but if you go fast in the beginning and you never learn the proper patterning, then your punches will never be good. Your language will never be good. Your speech will always be slurred, and your punches will always be sloppy if you go to the speed aspect too soon. Okay, so again, I hope you guys enjoyed the nice, easy challenge of the slower movements here, and hopefully you can think of incorporating those type of movements rather than postures that involve or just holding both arms and pacing them to the ground, which is not beneficial for sports and movement and that kind of thing. All right, guys, thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.